Due to the downturn of Sri Lanka's economy, there has been a significant impact on the job market, and many have lost their jobs, while most of the undergraduates and graduates are both trying to get into internships or employments, whereas it's very challenging since companies have implemented stricter standards while recruiting employees and interns. So in response to these tough times, us, the IIT Toastmasters Club, had decided to focus mainly on how you can make yourself stand out while in interviews, and also as an employee who's going to apply to a new company.
We have our guest who's just going to do that. So introducing Nazhim Kalam, a software engineer and lecturer. He has also completed his pathway in presentation mastery at IIT Toastmasters Club and mentored a few individuals as well along his journey. He's a very outgoing person and a really fun person to be with. So Nazhim, it's a pleasure having you here. Thank you for coming. So how's life with you?
Stressed. Life is stressed. I mean, it always feels like, I want to go back to when I was a kid watching TV. Just nice, no stress. No plans about, I don't watch the cartoon anymore. And you have no pressure for thinking about the future. And now I'm like planning out every other day what I do. Yeah, it's stressed, but I think that's how life is, right? You got to be stressed that something's wrong with you. That's what I think.
You want to go back in time as a kid. How about the time when you were doing your internship?
Internship. Internship was mostly a lot about learning for me. Because when I think about internship, because I knew that I didn't know a lot, which I would want to know. And internship was good. It taught me how to deal with clients. And how even Toastmasters was helpful. No, I was good with my communication skills. But it's just that, talking in public, making conversations, talking stuff, making everything right was needed kind of thing, which helped me. And got an exposure to talk with clients, deal with team members, conduct podcasts too in Netherlands, which is nice, right? And a lot of learning curves there. And got to meet new connections and made my network there. So I would say internship is one of the crucial times that every student have to have it. Like I would say them to try your best until you get an internship. If you did not, fine. Till then, try, right? Because it's a really good thing because you learn a lot more than the degree.
Yes. So that's about internship, and we'll actually get back into more detail about your internship and what advice you would give. But before that, we know that you were pursuing the computer science degree at IIT. Can you take us back to your computer science days when you were an undergraduate? Interesting stories.
Okay, so fun fact, I was not a computer science student at first, right? I applied as an SC student, and I did my first years and second year. Because second year had algorithms and machine learning mandatory for SC. So I did that, right? And then after realization that only final year modules get updated only for the CS batch, I had to switch to CS in my fourth year, first semester. So coming back to it, first year was nothing. Like first semester is nothing, right? First and second semester for me was where I had to do my own research. Because I think we just come from school where we were like spoon-fed and we expect the same. Right? We go to the lectures and we feel like, whatever you teach us today is what only I should do. Nothing else, right? Which is wrong when you realize it's wrong when you come to second semester. Because there is so much things, but especially with coursework, like, there are most of the areas which are not covered in the lectures, but, just brushed upon, what to do with this. But yeah, first year was about, stop spoon feeding and learning how you can learn, right? And then second year was a whole damn change. It was a whole damn change because we were put into data science not knowing what data science is. And I remember tearing up one day, because this was before the first semester started. I formed my groups already, and then I was discussing the idea about data science. And so I was overwhelmed in 1 month because I had to know Docker, backend, everything in 1 month. Because no one's going to teach us that in second year, right? And that was overwhelming for me because I was like, if I don't know this, I'm going to fail in life. So that first month was overwhelming, and then again, I had Christina, the Toastmaster, right? She was the Toastmaster. Yeah. She was the best support I had, bro. Like, she was very motivative, and till today, I always thank her, text her, and whatnot, because she was like, she gave me a support where which felt like I can do this. And second year was another whole roller coaster, self-learning, doing her stuff.
Interruption. Shout out to Toastmaster Christina.
Yeah, shout
Who was
out to
actually
you.
my
Yeah,
mentor too.
honestly.
We are so lucky to have you, and we are so grateful for your
Such a gem.
existence.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks so much. Yeah, so for internship, normally it's like this. Like, I don't think I should say this, but advertises that you get your internship guaranteed. So it's mostly if you do well in your first year studies, you don't need to apply. People will headhunt you. So that's what happened to me and Amar, a few others. Right? We got an interview directly. So that was the first interview we had, and that was during the month of March. New experience, but we killed it, right? And then internship started. That was the best team I've ever got so far. Like, I've worked for so many places, but no team like the one I got in. But I don't think that team still exists. But that was one of the best teams. Like, I had a good tech lead who supported me. She was like so supportive. She has so much things in her plate, but still she had time to explain certain codes and stuff. And made new friends, learned a lot. And internship was a whole journey, like where you learn stuff. Yeah, and finally it was another roller coaster.
So, like you said earlier, in first year you were spoon-fed, but you weren't supposed. You had to learn that you know how to learn, and go out of scope and make yourself unique. So that's how you get marks in coursework as well. They kind of surprise you with all these unusual things like, what? Have I heard of that as well? Yeah. Do you have any tips and tricks you want to give people out there looking for internships or jobs?
Yeah, so for this, like, while I was lecturing for second year, like this plans of architecture tutorial module, I used to always, give tips to them, because this is not important. What's important for you is internship. And no tips and tricks. It's just, you got to make your portfolio first. Like, you should have your own website, okay? Because when I say you have to have your website, now all those 1,000 people will be creating your own portfolio, right? So that's going to be common now. But you know that you can do something different, right? Like, for example, everyone has their own stuff, right? Like, someone can be good at blockchain, I'm not good at blockchain, and they can put that in your portfolio. Like, in my case, second year was the COVID time, yeah? And then I had so much time, we all had so much time, we were depressed at home. And then I used the time to publish a course in Udemy. And I published 2 courses, and now I dropped that on my portfolio. So that's like a recognition which is kind of different from others, right? Because now they don't have the time to do that, even if they can do that, right? They don't have the time, right? So when you have the time, I feel like, just not the studies, like, do something extra. It can be a new project by yourself, a new extension, something new related to your career. It can be web, data science, blockchain, something new. Learn from the basic. And once you learn, you will be coming up with a final product or something. Drop it into your portfolio and push it up, and people will find you by your key names, and then you'll be more recognized, I guess.
So in that case, what would be the extracurricular activities? Now, you talked about the technical stuff, like publishing courses in Udemy and doing a whole lot of other stuff. What would be the extracurricular activities that you could perhaps include in your CV and use for?
So for extracurricular, right? So first year, when they had this orientation where they dropped out all the clubs and stuff, so I went and did a pitch at my home. I was like, Dad, we got dot track, we got this. I never mentioned Toastmasters. I was like, we got dot track, we got IEEE, we got this, that. I never mentioned Toastmasters. And then he was like, he asked for some time. He had a discussion with my cousin, put him to Toastmasters. I'm like, no, I don't want to get in Toastmasters.
Same thing happened to me.
And that was the best thing which happened to me actually. Like, that was the extracurricular at IIT I did. Not sports, like, I'm not lethargic, but it's a good thing to do sports, right? I did once and I felt so tired, but yeah, Toastmasters was a worth investment, like I would say. Retract is good, right? I think Toastmasters would be more contributing for your professional environment, your professional setting and journey, because it will teach you how to communicate with clients at the end of the day, right? Because most of during the mock interviews we had recently at ID, most of them, they have the knowledge, but they know how to convey things, right? Conveying things in a simplest form will be a contributing factor for you to get into an internship or get through an interview, right? And I wasn't confident much about speaking that day, but I think now, you know what, it's all about, chill, take it easy, no one's, going to nothing.
That is actually true. I mean, almost all the Toastmasters candidates have this experience where you start off, very scared to speak up, and then you actually end up doing something that you thought impossible. And so we talked about making your portfolio unique and interesting, and how it could help you get some sort of chance in your interview or when you're applying for a company. And another part where it becomes important when you are applying for a company is your CV. So how do you make your CV stand out from others?
Okay. So starting off, I had a pretty bad CV. I remember clearly in the second, third, fourth year, I had a really bad template, right? I had a bad template, but I had what's needed because my CV was 4 pages or 3 pages long, which is wrong. You should not do that. I learned that later on. You should not make your CV more than 2 pages. And also, if you have so much, you just got to put what is really, really important only in your CV. And so I think I made a CV recently, the one which I applied for a full-time fresher, after I graduated, using Canva. So I would say best is 2 pages maximum. Have a profile picture, of yourself. It can be in a corner, whatever. And a proper title of what you're best at, right? It can be, a web developer or mobile developer. Or it can be a web developer but also a data science enthusiast. Something that you're learning to be. Just keep that as a title. A small intro, 3 lines, 4 lines, and then drop down your education, your primary education, secondary education, and then your degree. Then another section for your professional background, probably internships, or preferably before internships or after internships, you can still work at certain startups, right? Because if you know Dinuka, right, he was our senior. He's the bachelor for peace, the bachelor, right? So if you have good connections, you can get into startups like that. Through him, I got into InfoWaves. Through him, I got into Postman, right? So they're doing something extra and having your professional experience next. Then later have your skills, right? Don't have HTML, CSS, something like that. Just have something good frameworks. HTML, CSS, everyone knows now. Yeah? Have some good frameworks Next, .NET. Have some heavy good frameworks which are used nowadays. You don't need to be best, but make some APIs or whatnot. And then your extracurricular can be Toastmasters, it can be, Google developer groups, GitHub, anything. And then your referees, I guess. Yeah, your referees. And then certifications as well. That's pretty much it. And your social links, your GitHub, your portfolio links, your LinkedIn, stuff like that.
Okay, thank you for that. And I'm just adding in another extra question. What was the tool you used to make your CV?
Oh yeah, so the shitty one I made. Okay, I don't think I can use that word, but this is another. But the messed up one I made during internship was just a word template, which is messed up. And you can use Canva. I think Canva is the best so far. You can use that to customize it so well. You've got your icons, you've got everything there. So I would say to use Canva. It's free. You can get PDFs, PNGs, any formats, and perfect.
So once your CV got accepted or people came to you for interviews, you've got at least around 3 to 4 interviews so far.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know how many interviews you've got, but in that case, how's your interview experience been?
So I didn't apply for so many interviews, right? But if you get an interview throughout it, it's going to be about the basic technical. It's going to be OP concepts, databases first, and then they will be preferably checking on the projects you worked on. If it's internship, they won't be asking any projects you worked on. It's going to be STGP, obviously, and OP concepts. But after doing an internship, your questions will be: what are the projects you worked on? What are the tech stacks you worked on? What are the frameworks you worked on? Right? So those frameworks, if you have knowledge on it, then good. Right? So it's going to be always about the projects you worked on, and then they go into APIs, all technical stuff. Right? They go into APIs, technologies, and stuff.
Okay, so in your opinion, with the experience that you have got through several interviews, how do you think interviews work? Like, what criteria do they look into most?
Okay, so depending on the position you apply to, right? So if it's an associate, it's going to be not hard. It's going to be about databases, like I said again, and basic idea of web, like how do you work with front end, back end, database, authentication maximum, and that's pretty much it for ASC. And for software engineering, they will ask something more, like how asynchronous work, how synchronous work, how promises work, how database indexes work, how do you make an optimized API? It's all about optimization and making things faster. Have you made pipelines like using cloud? It's all about automation, pipelines, about SC and SSC.
I feel like it's the same stuff you
end up working, yeah. So like once you're good with ASC, associate, you'll be touching upon promises and pipelines. And then once you're good at it, you become an SC, and then from there you go to SSC. Because SSC is mostly, you got to train your juniors as well, right? Because that is how it comes as a role. So you got to know those flows to get into SSC. So that's what you got to know research, like, SSC is also about, making the others learn as well. Right?
Yeah, so making others learn when you're going to a senior position, but when you're in a junior position, you have to learn yourself a lot of things. In that case, do you have any pointers for people like who have gotten on-the-spot interviews? Like, how do they prepare for things in a short time? In that case, how has Toastmasters helped?
Toastmasters, you got to make a prepared speech or whatever, like the night before. Like I remember getting those. So, okay, now you got auto-generative AI, right? Since we didn't have this back then. Okay, back then we didn't have this. So I used to, for interviews, okay? So I used to search on, general questions asked in interviews. And I used to jot down everything in a sheet. And I used to study the difficult questions in the degree. It's mostly the algorithms and stuff, because those are the most difficult areas they will check you on. Because anyways, you're going to end up with a coding question. The coding question is going to be the hardest if it's an algorithm question. So if you're good at the normal stuff, you just got to focus on algorithms like sortings, binary search, areas like that. So since you have ChatGPT and whatnot, you can just generate questions for SC, ASC, and SSC. It will give you all the list. Based on the practice, everything, make sure you're good at it, and I think you'll probably get through the interview. Okay.
So, alright, so let's imagine you had faced several interviews and then you get calls from multiple companies. And then you're left with the choice to, pick a company to work for. What would you consider?
Okay, now if the pay scale is a big differentiator, I will check on that. If not, I'll go with the standard reputation first of all, right? If it's a really high reputation, I would choose that, but it has so much criteria, right? Like it's on reputation, it's on the pay scale, because you decide for what, right? And then it depends on the work environment, right? So work environment comes in Glassdoor reviews, like you can check on them, and many people you have cousins, relatives, you can get. So if the reputation is high, pay scale is not bad, and work culture is not that bad, you will go with that. But if you see, the pay scale is pretty much high, but the work, the environment is toxic as hell, so you should not judge that, right? You should never judge that. So it depends mostly on the work life there, and pay scale, and the recognition. If all of them aligns, it won't be always the best. Also, you won't be the best. There should be something down, right? Just find something close to that. Good recognition, good pay scale, and good environment, right? Because why good recognition? Because, for an example, right now, when had a client drop out and they had projects going down, so they had a layoff. So I had to go off as well, right? So I didn't have to apply. So when you have a recognition, like a startup reached out to me, and I was like, I'm going to leave in 3 months. If you're okay, we can do a contract or not. We're like, okay. So you don't need to put effort into applying, right? So if you get into a reputed company, and even if you come out, for example, if you come out of Google, anyone will hire you, right? No one's going to question. right? So reputation matters, and also the work balance and stuff. Right? So have a look into that. If you will feel the right fit, you will feel the right fit. There is the line I want to go for, right? And if I don't know if the pay scale is not a thing for you to look into, go with the recognition first, right? Because if you're more into your growth and stuff, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to work as an engineer forever, right? Because I feel like in 5 to 6 years time, I'm going to have my own business, right? Because when you work for so many companies, you feel like you're providing value to someone else, right? Because you won't realize it until you are being used in a company so much, right? Because if you're providing so much value to someone else, and if they're making bags, you can provide that value to yourself, and you can make bags. So I think doing a business in 6 years to 8 years time is good. So that's like my idea. But yeah, recognition, I would say.
Thank you for that insights.
Yeah, so following Charity's scenario, it shows the perfect or almost perfect company with all those criteria itself. Now, there's a certain culture in each and every company. They have different ways they act in situations, different ways, certain ways they act in different companies. So, if you got into a certain company, how would you adjust towards their culture?
Okay, now see, for me, like getting into a company in a team, so I'm not very fluent with Sinhala, right? But that's like the core language when you get into a company team environment, and that's like kind of difficult for me, right? So because at a junior level, okay, but when you get to a senior level, you got to speak up and discuss certain problems, issues regarding technology, right? And when there's a miscommunication, it's kind of hard, right? So I faced that in several places, so I had to discuss with them and tell them it's the issue. And so we started, communicating with English and getting things sorted. So I think most of the teams you work with will be having a tech lead. He'll be more understanding because he has control over everyone. Because he's the one who's going to be reporting about your performance to higher authority. So telling your issues to him that this is what I'm facing, and I feel like if you do this, it'll be better for me to work and whatnot. And if he does not do things according to what you request, and if it doesn't go well, I think with time you can switch companies because there's plenty of companies out there. But yeah, the tech lead should be taking the initiative, but you should be the one to speak up first, right? It can be anything, not language barrier, it can be anything. If you're feeling comfortable, I don't know, with a bunch of guys, you want to switch teams, I don't know, can you tell them? They'll be willing to switch teams. You feel like, you're not learning something from this project, you can request, I want to get in a new project because I want to learn something else. So it's about what you want, right? If you want to learn something new, if this team is not giving you the requirement you want, switch to a different project. Same company, but different project. There's so many projects, right? Different project or communication issues, talk to it, solve it. And if the management does not take things, then you can consider, if it's 1 year contract, okay, I'm going to manage this for 1 year and I'm going to move to a different place. Or if you feel like you want to switch quickly and you have an offer pending, switch, right? So you should be just comfortable. Like talk to your tech lead. If he doesn't take initiative, you take your initiative. That's it.
It's as simple as that, and I feel like it's a lot about how you communicate and how you be honest with yourself and how you feel about what you're working. So Nazhim, that is all about the company environment internships, but I think I just realized that we skipped a little part in when you are preparing for an internship. You have to prepare your portfolio, CV, and there's another aspect which we missed, that was the LinkedIn profile. Is it really important to update your LinkedIn profile?
Yeah, dude, LinkedIn profile is so important because, I'll tell you something funny, right? So I used to be a LinkedIn profile updating addict, in first year, and that went too far that my account got banned, right? My account just went off. I was kicked. My recommendations went off. Everything went off. But they gave me 1 day notice that this is going to go down. So what I did was, screenshot all my recommendations, put it in my portfolio, had to create a new account, and bring it back to normal, how it was. But yeah, you should not be going too far with something that don't be so obsessed with anything. But yeah, LinkedIn profile is the first thing HRs will reach out to, right? Because HR is going to obviously check on your social media profile even though they don't say it. It's like their task. Like I got to know this recently as well. It's like their task. Their task is to check on your social feed after you join the company, right? See what you're doing and how your life is and stuff. That is actually true. Before that, LinkedIn profile. So for you to get hired and whatnot, that's the one spot place, right? To see what skills you've done, what's your activity like, your feed, what you respond to, and basically your activity. They check on your activity. And if your LinkedIn profile is rich enough, that means you have high opportunities to get hired. Just because you get a million scenes waved in your LinkedIn doesn't mean that you're going to have the opportunity. But one day it can still give you the opportunity. Just have a good LinkedIn. Have a good LinkedIn. Be interested in something you like. I don't know, game dev. Fine. Do some writing. Do some podcasts if you like podcasts. Do that. Publish all your achievements or your goals or whatever on LinkedIn. So you'll be recognized at one point, right? It's like not an overnight success. You can't do your LinkedIn overnight and put it up, right? It has to be a continuous progress to see, is this LinkedIn been maintained for so long, right? Is this LinkedIn maintained properly? Has this been updated here and there? How's the tagline? How's the header? Because you know what, LinkedIn works like this. Now, based on your LinkedIn tagline, HRs can search, I want a software engineer. So based on the tagline you put in your CV, or LinkedIn, it's going to filter up in their system, right? So having a proper tagline which you wish to work for is good, right? Than just leaving it blank, right? So that tagline will make sure that your profile is reached to higher number of HRs and whatnot. So it's all because of the tagline and stuff, right? Those small things, it's like marketing yourself. Those small things will matter a lot. It's going to pop up in their dashboard or whatever. So higher chances, right? And when you make your CV published on LinkedIn, put it on LinkedIn, put it under featured. Featured means you might know, you go to your LinkedIn profile, you scroll down, you'll see the featured post yours. Put your LinkedIn, put your portfolio, put your GitHub if you're a tech guy, and I don't know, Toastmasters achievements and your completion achievements there. So it'll be easy to scroll of what you've been successful at, and then quickly drop a message and it's going to go well. So LinkedIn is really important. It's like a marketing page for yourself. If you don't market yourself, it's hard for people to headhunt you.
That is very true. And I remember while I was scrolling recently, I came across this post where it said, "More is more" on LinkedIn. So remember that. Okay, so let's move on to our next question.
Okay, so we talked about preparing the CVs and LinkedIn profile and whatnot for your internships and jobs. But what about the companies? What about the overall IT industry in Sri Lanka?
The industry in Sri Lanka now, IT is going bad. Okay, why? Because clients are refusing to outsource project to Sri Lanka, and there can be so many other issues. And because of that, companies don't have clients, so they don't have income to their company. They have to lay off because they can't pay, being idle, right? So the industry is going kind of bad in Sri Lanka, I guess, but it happens overall as well. Even Google had a biggest layoff last year or recent time. It's all about, dropping projects or whatnot. So that's depressing because I see so much people applying for IT. And because now, even though it's dying, now they'll be choosing the best of the best than the freshers, right? Makes sense? So I would say, it is. I wouldn't say it's dead. It's just, having issues and, it's competitive, right? It's hard to get freshers to rise. That's the problem here, right? Because the ones like SC, SSC, people who already have experience, they're fine. They can get into different companies, gain the experience, get into something, solve them. But for people who have no experience, freshers, interns, that's where it's difficult. Because there's so much freshers. There's so much freshers with no experience, and only startups will be willing to give that opportunity, because no other company will be willing to give opportunities, right? Because they're already losing money, and then they want to make the best of what they have remaining. And it's not dead, it's facing an issue. The IT industry is having a crisis at the moment, but I think it will recover later on. But I would say, don't be specialized with basics now, like full stack, web or whatever. Do something like cyber, game development, and data science. Try to be more specialized on that, and make sure you get whatever opportunity you get it, use it. Make sure you get experience, because now more than your degree, the experience is the counter, right? So try to get your experience. Use any opportunity. If you get an ASC, get it. If you get an intern, get it. But get it something related to your degree. But I don't recommend doing banking, receptionist, not that. Something related to your degree, right? Get any opportunity. It can be a startup, because at the end it's going to be experience. Because let's say you leave Sri Lanka, right? There's opportunities out there in the world, right? But they check on your experience than your skill. Based on the experience they'll give you, right? Even Tiruka, like he's a batch top, right? And he didn't have so much experience when he left here. So what he told me was, get experience and then come, because he left early, right? And he is doing an intern, I guess, and he's going again there. So it's hard to climb up the ladder there. So get your experience here if you want, and then fly somewhere else, and then you can get a job opportunity. Right?
So what you told about being specialized in stuff other than the basics is completely true. But to give a heads up for the audience here, what are the emerging trends currently?
Data science is on top, right? But I think cyber is also growing. However, I think still data science will overtake a lot, because there's a lot to do, because there's going to be so much bug fixes here and there. So I would say currently it's data science and cyber, but now say even this is going to become a norm at a point. It's going to be a norm because there's going to be so much people doing this and that. So it's all about shifting. It can be blockchain later on. It's like medicine. It's like doing medicine. There's going to be some new virus coming up next year. We've got to find something for it, right? So just like that. Currently, it's the top, I guess, is data science, blockchain, and cyber. And in future, it can be something different. It can be robotics. It can be IoT. I don't think robotics and IoT is a very big hype now, but it can be in the future. But it should also match your interests, right? Just don't do for the sake of doing, right? Just try to step into it a bit, have a look at it. If it interests you, do it. Yeah, that's important, right? Don't do something you don't like, right? Then you'll end up hating life. Yeah. So yeah, data science, cyber, IoT, blockchain, robotics, like those areas. Because even my aim is to do a master's in data science, because I applied already, and so plans are going fine. So it's going to be data science for me. But by the time I finish, something new can be popping up. But still, data science is going to be there forever, because it's about AI. AI, I don't know what's more than AI, right? So yeah, full stack is now the norm. Like everyone was full stack.
So, like you said, AI has been growing rapidly, and it's been making drastic changes in how we work, how we even live day to day. So, do you think there is a risk for software engineers, especially in the IT industry, with the enhancements and improvements in AI? Will AI take over our jobs?
See, now that's a very controversial topic, right? Now, see, like AI, yeah, it's overtake jobs, right? Now, software engineers, I don't know, but I would say if you're a software engineer and if you're specializing in data science, you'll be a data engineer at the end, right? So if you think AI is going to be more taking over, just study that area, so you know that it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be issues. So just be, I don't know, more towards data science. Like I don't think software engineers will be losing their jobs because the job is based on the client's request. And I think AI for now, it's not up to the point where it can satisfy any client basically clients, right? You know what clients are, right? Like the ones who give you the requirement to make a project, right? Based on their requirement, we develop it and we customize it. We think different. Okay, AI can't think about the architecture unless we give some feedback properly. And there are certain areas which we can think about than AI for now. But yeah, one day it's going to be taking over as well. But however, to use those tools, you need some engineering. But maybe I would say like this: the experienced ones would be still there. freshers might face an issue, right? Freshers will face an issue, but experienced engineers will be still there because they will need them to fix certain things. But the rest, I think you can switch into data because you can have more opportunities there. Because everyone will try to integrate AI to the system. We need AI developers there, right? So yeah, just do masters in AI. Just don't be depressed that you're doing computer science. That's good, right? It's good for bachelors, but for masters, specialize on the growth area, right? So yeah.
True. So those were some valuable insights on AI and the industry at present.
So in that case, you said that there's an emerging battle, tiny battle between AI and freshers, interns especially, on the experienced ones. In that case, what pointers can you give the audience, waiting here, like what could you tell them, like what do companies usually look for in ideal employees?
Okay, now I think what they look for is mostly every interview has a technical question. It's all about, I think, how you think about solving the problem, right? It's like, you can search an element from an array. Let's not make it technical, but you can do it different ways to make it faster, right? Like the ways you think to solve a problem, right, is what they would expect from an intern or a fresher. How do you solve this problem, right? Just tell me. That's how I do my was, right? I don't force them to code. I'll just ask them, how do you solve this? Like, tell me how to solve this. If it's something basic, normal way, it's okay. But if it's something, creative and you think you can do it faster, now that's important, right? Because they check on that, how better you do than the traditional way. So I would say employees look for, not complex thinking, but ways of finding an optimized solution for things, right? Faster ways, right? And then, because now at a point in time, the syllabus is there. Pipelines, AWS, whatever is there in the net, you got to learn. But thinking is different, right? The way you think is different. That can't be taught. It comes within you, right? You can not be the best, but you can still learn how to do it, right? So it's all about how you solve a problem, I would say. Because at the end of every interview, you'll be having a coding question. If you nail it well, regardless you mess up the theoretical question, you will still get in. Because I remember I messed up one theoretical question, but I still got in because of the coding question, right? So it's about how you solve the problem. Personally, I think for an interview, right? You do it perfectly well, you're good.
Yeah, that's about the qualities that companies will be looking for in interns and employees. So let's move on to a different question. Now, we see that lots of youngsters here in Sri Lanka are migrating abroad for maybe scholarships or their degrees or for work. Now, do you think we can guarantee job opportunities abroad for especially IT graduates?
Yeah, see that? You can go abroad. So there's a loophole for that, right? You can go abroad to do your master's, preferably. Right? Don't go do a bachelor's. If you do a bachelor's, it's hard to get employment in abroad countries. So the best ideal solution would be, do a bachelor's here, work for 2 years or 1 year. Like if you have 0 work experience, work for 2 years. If you've done an internship and done a 1 year fresher, that's 2 years. Then apply for masters. Once you go there, apply for masters, you'll get 20 working hours. So then you can apply for there is opportunities if you have experience, basically, right? If you have experience, you can get opportunities. You might not get the best opportunity there, but you'll get an opportunity to work in the industry and then grow, right? So it's all about the experience. So get an experience and then leave. And also, certain countries, they are very, very, very being, racist, like, about color and whatnot. But there are certain countries like Australia and places like that where they give opportunities based on your skill. That's it. So it depends on the country, and also you got to have the experience. At least 2 years experience. 1 year internship, 1 year fresher, have that. And then you can leave for masters, and from masters you will be studying while working, and then you'll be getting 2 years there. That's like 4 years of work experience. Then you can start out your life.
So in that case, where would you see the IT industry, going in the next 5 years?
I don't see myself going in the next 5 years, but IT industry. I mean, I think it's going to be still there, because but there's going to be so much things automated, like websites will be auto-generated and stuff like that. I would say more than the IT industry, I would say data industry will be growing in the future. More than IT, IT will be the norm, and there'll be so much data engineers. Because even when you go, I just went recently, to a Microsoft career website, and all I see is like data engineers, data analysts. I'm like, where is a front end or a back end engineer? So I would say mostly it's going to be a more data kind of thing, or security, cyber security. The industry will be there, it won't be dead, because we got clients, there are clients at the end of the day. There are people, business people who will need a software for them. There are business people who will need people to handle their software. So as long as business people are there, there'll be requirements. There's requirements, there'll be an IT industry. So it will be mostly automated, like we discussed. And yeah, it will be mostly a data industry in future, I believe so. But one thing, I'm not going to be working after 5 years for someone, for sure.
Yes, that's
But
what
yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
did our businesses.
So Nazhim, we've had we've discussed quite a lot of stuff today, and I think they were very insightful and about. They probably gain a lot of knowledge on the internships, how they could pursue their careers, jobs, and if they're looking for any. Now, one final question for you. What is the advice you'd like to give for the people looking out for jobs, internships?
Advices. I feel like I've been telling this for people in the mock interviews we had. I think we had a mock interview last month. I don't remember. So, advices I would say is, guys, from what I've seen let's take IIT, because that's the only thing I can relate to. I would say, communication, right? Even though you know the stuff, be good enough to communicate. And thinking is there, they're good in thinking. I would say, communication first. Know your basic structures like OOP, databases, areas like that. And then I would say, have a look into creating your own portfolio. Don't make it very basic, home, contact, my portfolio stuff. Make it something unique. Create something by yourself. You don't need someone to teach you to create extensions or some libraries. Do something by yourself, right? Do something by yourself, because it's just make yourself unique from someone else, right? And just because someone does a couple of projects, you don't need to do the same projects. If you do the same projects, there's going to be 1,000 people do the same thing. Do something different. There's so much ideas. Create new extensions, publish new extensions, create new libraries, create, courses if you have the time. Because I think undergraduate is the time where you have all the time in the world. You have enough time. But everyone needs to, have their break. But you can have your break, but use the time to do something which is, unique. Write articles at least. Something you like, right? Technical. And make sure you're more recognized, not the word to say attention seeking, but, make your LinkedIn profile properly, well done. So yeah, recommendations, certifications. There's enough certifications, guys, on YouTube. There's AWS free certifications, there's Microsoft free certifications, there's Toastmasters certifications, you can get them as well. And there's Coursera, all are free. I've done all the free certifications there, and it's good, it's free. Why would you not use something free when you have the time, right? And do all those, and yeah, make sure you have a solid thing with you, your solid side. And yeah, just keep learning and explore companies. On LinkedIn jobs, you have LinkedIn jobs. Check on LinkedIn jobs, check on Rooster jobs, check on Glassdoors, check on all those sites, keep applying. And if you see that if you don't get any response from a company, that's because you need to update your CV again. Apply. There's a tool called ATS Tracker or something. It's a tool which will filter your resume or CV just to see that is this job role matching with your CV. There is some tool, I don't remember, which is going to check your CV with the job role. If it's in a higher percentage, apply for it. If it's not in a higher percentage, 80 plus, don't apply, because the chances of getting is, I think it's an ATS track, I don't know. So search some tools, there will be some tools like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you very much.
It was certainly so insightful, a lot of tips and tricks for all these people who haven't gotten internships and perhaps jobs, It's a lot to take from this episode, I think. Yeah. So, Nazhim, it was really lovely having you here in this episode. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys for staying with us.
Yeah.
And we hope to see you in our next episode.
Stay tuned and for more updates.